And finally tonight on the Ed Show, you know, there wasn't much protest from the National Democrats when Republicans started going after unions in Wisconsin. And they didn't say a whole heck of a lot when the GOP did the same thing in Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana. And the list goes on. Well, a few people took notice of the Democrats' lack of interest in middle-class workers, namely the largest firefighters union in the country, nearly 300,000 strong, the IAFF. Now the union says it will quit donating to federal candidates, both Republicans and Democrats. Why? Because members of Congress don't have their back. Instead, the IAFF will put resources and funding into state and local candidates. They're going to be focusing on referendums and recalls, which could be a problem for the National Democrats. They need their support. The union's Political Action Committee ranks 10th in contributions. It spent $15 million in the 2010 midterms, including $2.4 million in direct contributions, and is a pretty dependable source of campaign funds for Democratic candidates and has been for years. Joining me now is the General President of the International Association of Firefighters, Harold Schaitberger. Mr. Schaitberger, great to have you with us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Ed.
What aren't these elected officials doing for firefighters and middle-class workers, in your opinion, to make this change?
Well, first of all, we need our friends in the Democratic Congress to be able to stand up and to fight back against those that have been literally assaulting our members and workers, middle-class workers, public workers all across this country. We need them to stand up and fight back with us.
What do you want them to do?
Until they do, we are going to be redirecting all of our political resources to our state and local battles. We've also been quite disappointed, quite frankly, in their efforts on Capitol Hill. That they do not seem to be willing to have the same kind of discipline and the same type of commitment. They will not fight with the same ferocity that those that oppose our efforts, that those that oppose the middle working class, that those who want to continue to extend the Bush tax cuts, they're not willing to stand up and fight. And until they're willing to stand up and fight for us, alongside of us, to help us to fight back against these assaults, to eviscerate us, to strip away our workers' rights, to strip away their political voice in the political arena, to allow them to continue to exist and to operate as a union, then we are going to turn the spigot off until we get the kind of response and the kind of support that we think that we're entitled to.
And what do you exactly want them to do? Should they have been involved in Wisconsin? Should they have gone to these states and been more active? What do you think?
They need to have their collective voice. They need to do what the opposition has done. The opposition has been very focused. They have been organized. It's been orchestrated. They've had their message very clear. They've had their sights on the attacks, and they are willing to take no prisoners. We need our Democratic friends in Congress to be able, as a unified force with a unified voice, to get out and step out and fight back with us. Let's take Florida as a quick example, Ed. You know, they're trying to strip dues deductions away from our members. That's the very livelihood of us being able to exist, for our members to have a voice. We need that Florida delegation to stand up and fight with us, and they could do so in a much more unified way.
And you've told me that 44% of your members are Republicans, 41% Democrats, the rest have not declared. Is there a sea change taking place with the firefighters?
Well, that was certainly an accurate representation before all of these attacks that occurred in the 12-some states that are now led by Republican governors and Republican members of the state legislature. And those members are now definitely shifting their alliances and coming back home.
And you're shifting your money, and of course that is going to get some attention on Capitol Hill, I'm sure. Mr. Schaitberger, good to have you with us tonight. I appreciate your time. I think this move is long overdue. You got to wake up those politicians and do it through the pocketbook.